To calculate ages in Microsoft Excel is very simple. In this video, I will show you how to easily do that. No manual math, no stress. Whether you are handling student records or organizing staff data, this trick will save you tons of time. Let's get started. So here we are going to use the YEARFRAC function as well as the today function to achieve that. So let's start with the YEARFRAC function equal to YEARFRAC. Then the start date here is the date of birth, so let's select that and a comma to separate the first argument. The end date, since we wanted to update automatically depending on the time that has elapsed between the date of birth and then the current date, we are going to use the today function there. So today, let's open parentheses and close that one, and let's close parentheses, enter. So we can see that we have decimals there. The decimals are there because of the months that has elapsed after the 35 years. So we are going to use the int function to take away the decimals there. So let's wrap our formula there in the int function. So int, open parentheses here, then close it here, then enter. Now we have just the 35. So we can add the years to this one. So let's use the ampersand to concatenate the year, which is 35 as you saw, and then add years to that. So and let's put years in double quotes. Enter, and you can see that now we have 35 years. So you can see that is the 35 and then the years are together. So let's separate that by putting a space before the years here, then enter, and everything shows nicely here. So let's fill this down, and you can see that all the ages here are calculated nicely. We can again use the DATEDIF function in Microsoft Excel, which isn't a well-documented function in Excel. So typing it, we need to type everything. We can use it to calculate or determine the person's years, months, as well as the date in Excel. So let's begin by using the DATEDIF function also, and the argument is not going to show as well. So equal to DATEDIF, open parentheses like this. So this function takes 3 arguments. The first argument is the start date, the second argument is the end date, and the third argument is the time unit. So the start date is the date of birth, so let's select that, comma to separate the first argument. Then the end date, we are using the today function since we want it to automatically update to today. So you open and close parentheses, then comma again to separate that one. Now for the third argument, you can use M in double quotes to determine only the months. Then we can again use D in double quotes to determine the date. Then MD to determine the date ignoring the months, as well as YM to determine the months where we ignore the years. So since we are determining only the years, let's use the Y in double quotes there. So Y like this in double quotes, and let's close parenthesis, enter, and we have 35 again for this one. Now before we fill down, let's use the ampersand to concatenate the age and years as well. So it will show 35 years instead of 35 only. So let's put that one, then space, then let's use the double quotes there and put years, then enter, and now we are seeing the years again. So let's put a space before the years. Now it's showing nicely. So let's fill this one down, and this too is calculated. automatically nicely here. But to start using the concatenate function as well as the DATEDIF, let's copy our first formula that we use here. We'll select everything, Ctrl C to copy. So let's begin by using the concatenate function. So equal to concatenate. The first text is what we copied, so Ctrl V to paste. So for this one, we are not going to do anything to it. So comma here to separate that, the second text. Yeah, let's put double quotes with space between them to add spaces to what we are concatenating. Then Ctrl V again to paste. Here we are interested in only the month, so let's add M to the Y there to return the months, ignoring the years. Then let's change the years also to months. Then comma again. Then the double quote, space, again, then comma, let's paste. Then let's change the Y there to MD to return only days, ignoring the months. And let's change the years also to days. Then comma again, double quote, space between them, and comma. Then let's use the hour function plus the now function to return the hours. So hour in parentheses, the serial number, we are using the now function. Again, let's use the ampersand to concatenate the hours and then the hour. Now let's close parentheses, enter, and everything is showing nicely there. So 35 years, 2 months, 8 days, 15 hours. So let's fill this one down, and everything is showing nicely there. So thank you for watching the video. That is it for how you can calculate the ages of people in Microsoft Excel using the YEARFRAC function and then the DATEDIF. Subscribe for more tips and tricks in Microsoft Excel.